This is a bit of a review about project number 3, which deals with color intensity and saturation modes and experimenting with those, and also with paint applications. This is due on October 9th at noontime, and peer reviews will be automatically assigned after the due date, and they'll be due a few days later on Monday, October 12th. So there is a required reading for this assignment in the textbook in Chapter 2, pages 38 through 64 on color. Make sure you read those. Also, watch these links that I've created for you with this content that will appear on a quiz in the class. So there is 4 videos here that you can watch. They're all very short, but they're all supportive of all the things that you're going to be doing in the assignment. So you're going to be creating 3 6x9-inch compositions on your Bristol board paper, and you'll be using 3 color modes. So there's 3 different parts of this assignment. And the first one deals with chromatic grays. It's also dealing with the analogous colors within chromatic grays. The requirements for the assignment are to experiment with applying watery color into a wash of watery color and using the soft diffusion of the color that results in contrast with dry, clean edge application. You can also include thick paint, but do so in contrast with washes. So remember, the chromatic grays are the grays that are just outside of the achromatic gray, which is right in the center. So the center of the color wheel here is completely neutral. There's no chroma there. But right outside of it are the colors where gray has been added. So we have these chromatic grays, which do have chroma in them, but they're very dull looking. But you'll be using an analogous selection from the chromatic grays, which means you'll be using colors that are next to one another on the color wheel. So you don't want to use complementary colors like purple and green, or yellow and blue, or red and green. You want to use colors like blue, purple, red, or green, yellow, orange, or colors like that that are mixed with gray. So like blue gray, purple gray, red gray, things like that. And so just remember, there's 3 important things about the first study in chromatic grays. 1, it has to be an analogous color scheme. 2nd, the analogous colors need to be mixed with chromatic grays. And we're talking about mixing analogous colors with gray. And you need to use washes, or however it works for you to water the paint down. You could wet the surface down first before you add paint to it so it bleeds, or you could mix a wash that you apply over a color. But use a lot of water to start with your paint and experiment with this kind of application. And we're always looking for strong compositions with each one of these studies. Sometimes people use chromatic grays in their composition, but they don't have any hierarchy, unity, and variety or movement. So pay attention to that, and the rest is up to you. So here are 2 contemporary artists that I think are relevant to this assignment. Julie Evans, who's using a lot of color washes with mainly analogous colors. And these are really lovely compositions as well. Also then we have Darren Watterson, who's working a little bit differently, but also using these interesting analogous color washes. The second part of the project is a study with muted colors. And again, the muted colors are here. They're beyond the chromatic grays. And we're going to do a triadic study with muted colors. So when you select the colors that you choose, make sure you're choosing them kind of like in a triangle, like red, green, and blue. Red, green, and blue would be a triangle. Or yellow, purple, green would be a triangle. And any way you twist that triangle, you're going to be choosing 3 different colors, but they're spaced apart in that way on the color wheel. So you don't want to choose colors that are right next to each other. You want to choose these kind of colors that have a lot of spacing between them. So what you're going to do is to experiment with first laying down a field of color, and then applying paint by scraping it on, stamping it on, randomly applying layers or other colors on top of that. So this might include a flat color that's applied and then scraped away, and then paint back into this with controlled, detailed mark making. The third part of the assignment is prismatic colors. So you'll use 2 primary and 1 secondary or tertiary color. So remember that the prismatic colors are the colors that are on the edge of the color wheel. So begin this painting by laying down a primary color as a background, and then using a secondary primary color, create a thick application on another surface and then apply it with pressure to the painted area. You could put it on a piece of paper, or you could put it on any flat object. Just apply paint to it and then flip it upside down so it touches the face of the painted surface, and let it stick and press it down and pull it away, and then you'll get something that you're probably not sure what you'll get until you pull it away. So let that dry and then use that as a starting point for the rest of the painting and introducing the secondary or tertiary color. All the colors in this piece, in the third study, should be very vibrant and saturated. The objectives for the assignment and the purpose of these studies are to understand basic color modes and schemes relating to saturation, such as chromatic grays, muted colors, and prismatic colors, and to understand color and hue relationship and how this influences the elements of shape, edge, and proximity. Another goal is to experiment with a medium of paint to generate surface, mark, and color interactions. It's really about experimenting and getting to know this material as well. So be attentive to value and color intensity and how it can control your composition. Also be careful with the arrangement of prismatic colors. They can easily become garish. Remember to include clean borders. We're going to put tape on the borders. We're going to create a 6 by 9 inch window, and we're going to place tape around the edges so that we have a nice clean border. If you have thin tape, you might want to put several layers of it on so it covers up everything and you don't get any marks on the edge of the paper. Also be aware of how application texture affects the focus of the composition, how you're applying things on the surface. Keep the compositions abstract or non-representational. Try layering paint by letting a ground dry and then painting over parts of it. You could do this in stages. So this must be done in paint, but please experiment with different applications. So what is due are 3 non-representational paintings with basic color modes.